this for the first ban on SMG's side. We see Chen, interesting, and Tychus. A little bit more standard, but Chen.
So Tychus is being banned out for...
That is by Cloud9.
So we'll get this fixed here. And then we got Chen being banned out. Interesting. So it makes me wonder, are they looking for that Nazebo? If they're banning out Chen,
I'm sorry. I need to... Oh, you got it right. You have it right. Good job, Jake. I gave it to you backwards there. Okay, so... all right, we see a Vala picked up and then a Falstad Nazebo. Vala seems to be first pick very frequently.
And Falstad, they both are.
Well, Falstad's not so surprising after some of the changes to the previous heroes that were strong in terms of some of the damage that was they could output. Excuse me. Now we see Falstad moving up in the ranks. We see Nazebo, of course, for damage output, etc. So nothing too crazy there. And then we see a Tassadar and Zeratul pick up, following the Falstad Nazebo.
Yeah. So I mean, overall. I mean, Nazebo has been seen almost every single game picked or banned.
He's picked or banned. He's quite good now.
The rise of popularity is actually insane. But with Nazebo Falstad, again here for Cloud9, so much power, so much just fear you can create with the Ravenous Spirit. I mean, even just the Dragonite. We saw the Ravenous Spirit almost be used for zoning once or twice. And, I mean, it does so much damage, but just the zoning in general is very strong.
So, all right, Jake, how do you feel... Aside from the brief interrupt that we had in the middle of that game, how do you feel that SMG was dealing with Ravenous Spirit? Did they deal with it well enough?
No,
do they need to try to change their strategy? Okay.
Yeah, I think they need to find something else that works better. Stitches is great, but like, how often are we seeing Stitches actually interrupt Nazebo? More often than less, it's not Stitches that's doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to go with a new Barak. I don't think a new Barak's the answer. You don't have any interrupts with Chen's banned out, so Chen doesn't have interrupts, so he's banned out as it is.
Perhaps Muradin?
But does SMG grab Brightwing? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're going to grab Brightwing. We see Arthas Stitches here for Cloud9, so they're going for the double frontliner, and this is going to force both the support and tank picks. Now, Arthas...
So we know they're going to grab Malfurion. That's pretty much a given.
Let's look at this. Arthas, Stitches... Yeah. They're both taken,
Chen's
and Chen's
banned.
banned. So what does SMG grab? Diablo? A new Barak? Like, what do they grab here? Muradin?
Uther.
I think it's Muradin.
Yeah, they are.
And I think it's Brightwing. I think it's Muradin, Brightwing. I think that's what they have to do. They, Malfurion's been great, and Malfurion helps a lot, and it's still a really good option. But I think since Brightwing's on the table here, I think it would be a good pick.
I'm not convinced that they won't take Malfurion. They've had a lot of success with him, and I wouldn't say that he's any of the reason that they've lost their game. So if it's working well for them, I'm not really sure that... I mean, I guess that gives you a little bit of extra interrupt, but you got to get Brightwing into a scary position in order to be able to interrupt that Ravenous Spirit. It is an extra option for them to deal with it. I'm not sure it's the right one. So they may want to just take Muradin, or some other kind of crazy pick. I'm not sure. And you can see they're taking some time to do this.
Yeah.
SMG is notorious for incredibly quick drafts. I will say
not when they're down.
Cloud9 has put them into another position yet again. We saw this last series. Cloud9 is doing a better job drafting so far this series. It almost never takes SMG this long to come up with what heroes they're going to play.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, they're thinking hard, like you said. This is a really big pick. I mean, like we said, there's a big advantage going into the grand finals if you win these winners' finals. And it's Tyrael Brightwing not going for the Muradin. Brightwing, again, I thought was a really big pick because you have the tip of the Emerald Wind and the Polymorph, both for interruptions, zoning, and just so much control over the battlefield. And we look at this. We have Brightwing and Zeratul. That's Emerald Wind, that's Void Prison, and Tyrael for the Judgment on Nazebo to interrupt that Ravenous Spirit from long range. We'll see if it works.
Yeah, okay. Tyrael...
There, okay.
Tyrael actually didn't see that many changes in this last patch. He did see quite a bit of a damage nerf to his heroic. But other than that one change, he hasn't been changed much, but he doesn't get picked very often. He's much more of a rare pick. He was in like the Elite 6, if you want to call it that, of heroes that were frequently banned and picked out first. This patch, not so much.
Whew, man. This is such a scary composition.
Yeah,
for Cloud9.
I mean, I'm hoping that SMG shows us something, but I'm not super convinced that this is still the answer.
I mean, Stitches Arthas with Uther. That's such a scary front line. The game's booting up here. And we'll see what they can do, but this is tense. The air is thick.
Yes, we're going to be waiting. We're going to be learning with you guys here to see what SMG has in store for us to deal with Nazeebo, because he was a very large deciding factor in that last game. He dealt so much damage. He turned the tides. So many fights. And just looking at this draft, there's one giant question. SMG, what are you bringing to the table to deal with Nazeebo? Now, of course, we have Tyrell's Heroic Judgment. He's going to be able to get in there, assuming he has the range for it. And that's still putting him into a scary position. Tyrell doesn't have a huge HP pool like some of the other tanks do, like Muradin does. So, yeah, he might be able to get in and deal with the Ravenous Spirit, but that's not necessarily a trade-out immediately. Like, you might lose Tyrell right away, and Nazeebo's still alive. So, all right.
Let's introduce our teams.
Getting into that right
here. To the left side of the map, we have Symbiote Gaming with Dreadnought playing as Tyrell. Vala will be played as... That's not Vala. I clicked on the wrong. Arthalana will be played as Vala. Over on Tassadar is going to be KO. Soldier will be playing as Zeratul, and Mad Timmy will be playing Brightwing. The pink Brightwing matching the pink Vala. So,
wow, that's
so kawaii.
That's really nice. Okay, and for C9 Maelstrom, the winners of the previous game, we have Dunk Train on Falstad, Kenma on Uther, King Caffeine will be playing Stitches this game, Zuna on Arthas, and Biceps on Nazeebo. Oh! And
we're going to see a lot of that this game.
Yeah.
Mr. Nazeebo, a lot of power. We got 3 sitting here in the bottom lane with only 2 from SMG. SMG sitting here in their bush. Both teams just trying to see if they can get something cheeky to happen. But Arthas, not really an easy dude to kill.
Yeah. I can't stress enough how much of an advantage C9 Maelstrom took going into that draft.
Yep.
Just the part where they took the 2 tanks and they banned out one of the tanks. Like, that was their plan the entire time.
It's so smart.
And they really put SMG in a tight spot in terms of, how do you draft from there. It's like, okay, we still don't have an answer really for Nazeebo here, and they're just put them in a spot where it's like they kind of needed to take Muradin or do something crazy. Like, when they ended up going with something crazy with Tyrell because he's just not picked too often, and it's so scary, like I said, for him to dive over.
The one thing I like about this, though, is when in the big team fights, when you have the shielding from Tyrell and you have the full healing out of Brightwing, that's a lot of sustain that's on your entire team if you're in a relatively close range scenario. So if you can fall back and kind of stall a little bit, you heal up relatively okay with, the shielding helps you sustain. So it's not the typical big heavy tank in the front line, but we'll see how it works.
Yeah, I mean, my gut is telling me that he's going to dive in and he's just going to get blown up for it.
Now, is it worth trying to time the phase shift from Brightwing and try to pop an Emerald Wind after he dives in to extract him from these scenarios?
That's a crazy, and if they were able to execute that with success, I'll love them for that. That would be an amazing play. We haven't seen anything like that done yet, so that'd be cool. I would love to see that. Are you kidding me?
It would be cool indeed. Well, a lot of pressure here, 3v3 in the bottom lane. Yeah. Having Soldier rotate down here, he will continue to rotate around the map. And, just right now, it's going to be a lot of pacing back and forth, trying to get some damage on the towers.
Okay, so we see that Tyrell, that's Dreadnought, is opted to go with the upgrade to the shield. Upgrade the shield ability that he has. Now, typically, they'll take the smite cooldown, and the more enemies you hit reduces the cooldown of smite. I think he understands the position that he's in, that he needs to take improved survivability, improved shielding.
Goodness, they're both so low.
Yeah.
They both just tap.
Oh, no.
Caffeine is going to look for the hook. He doesn't get it. Dreadnought.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Those jukes were
He juked me. He juked you. He juked everybody. You were looking down. You saw the sword throw, and it's like, yeah. So that was very, very well played.
Oh, and they get the trade on Zuna. That's really good here. Now, the tribute did, in fact, go to Cloud9 Maelstrom, but they pick up a kill. Dreadnought with his crazy jukes. Nice plays by both teams.
Yep. Another talent that's jumping out at me is that Stitches took Amplified Healing. Now, I like this because it improves his E, the Devour ability, which is he takes a certain amount of damage off of the enemy, but heals himself quite a bit more. That improves that healing, and if he had taken Regen Master, etc., it would improve that as well. But I think he anticipates that he will be in the front lines of fights going into past level 10, etc., so he's just trying to make sure to get the maximum efficiency out of Uther's heals.
And Uther, you're just going for that stun. Arthalon has to back up right away. 3 in the bottom lane. The max healing, like you said, is kind of a big deal. I mean, it adds up quite a bit. And, again, not a lot of damage to any of the towers in this game. This bottom tower has probably received the most in the entire game. Putting the pressure on it. It's out of ammunition here. Only a few shots left in this tower. If you guys have never seen Heroes of the Storm before, one of the biggest differences in this game is the towers do, in fact, run out of ammo.
That's true.
And it allows you to put a lot of pressure on those lanes. So by continuing to push forward, you're rewarded because those towers will regenerate their ammo, but it's pretty slow.
So we do see that the second tribute is up. It looks as though SMG has 2 heroes in place to posture for this, and Brightwing warping in. They should be able to zone King Caffeine out. He's going to poke.
You know,
slam.
Soldier actually probably could have capped that if Matt Timmy threw down a polymorph, but it looks like they didn't want to waste it.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah,
they wanted to save it. So I think there was enough time if the poly was thrown down, but Soldier wasn't aware if there was somebody else kind of poking around.
Right.
So didn't want to risk it, played safe.
Yeah, you
got the wrong call, but would have been nice to see.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the poly. I think it has something like a 13-second cooldown, something like that. It's long.
Like 13 to 16. I'm not positive the exact time, but it is quite long. But the hook there going in on Soldier immediately bolts back as Dread is going to zone for him, and this should get them the tribute.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of poking to stall and delay. They were able to press quite a bit down in that bottom lane there, and of course, if you take out the towers, you get additional experience. That's something that's new in this last patch. So that's the sort of the idea behind their, not pressing super hard into the tribute. They just want to make sure that they're soaking lanes. They're pushing out these towers where they can. And they've equalized level advantage, even though they have traded tributes, but they did lose that kill early. They have leveled out in terms of experience.
Yeah, well, the wall was taken down by Cloud9, so they have that kind of, like you said, the experience is leveled out because of that.
Right.
1 kill in favor on SMG's side, but the pressure is on. 1-to-1 tributes, Arthlon got full health, and they got to wait for him to come back here before the next tribute comes up. He's on his way. Giants here, Knights in the middle have been cleaned up already, and right now we're seeing the Giants being taken again by SMG. So right now it's just kind of a vying around the map, grabbing stuff in between tributes getting picked up.
So once again, we see Clairvoyance taken from Nazebo. Over Gidbin, which improves the effectiveness of his other abilities. Plague of Toads does more damage, Corpse Spiders does more damage, and Wall of Zombies lasts longer. So you're giving up a good bit of utility. It also affects his trait too, so that he does more damage on all of his autos with the poison. So you're giving up quite a bit just to get map vision. And it's a pick that you don't see very often. Wow, really, really nice heads up there. They knew the hook was coming. They were just able to react.
I thought for sure he was going to get it, honestly, but that was a really nice play with the dodge there. Hook is going to be on cooldown for a decent amount of time, and Clairvoyance was actually used to scout out the Golem, so Clairvoyance not available. Not really a big deal. Oh my goodness, they went for the hard double read there, using 2 spells. Now we see the Tyrael is on his way rotating out, but already a kill on Falstad, losing Falstad this early in the fight. As heroics are picked up, I mean, that's huge. They just have to back up. They have to give it up. It's not a curse. It's 2-to-1 tributes now in favor of SMG, and they're just going to play it safe as Tyrael goes back into lane to continue soaking. Yeah,
we saw both Tyrael and Arthas were decided to stay up top, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, hey, I see that their tank's not going down. I'm not going to go down. So it's a trade out there. We just saw the Dunk Train was just a little bit too far forward, and SMG just made the snap call. We're going in. We're pushing out that damage onto Falstad. Ended up being too much. It wasn't able to barrel roll out of the way. That gave them the advantage, and C9 Maelstrom wisely backed up from that tribute. It's not worth losing any more heroes in that situation.
And Zuna just going to come up to the top lane, soak it up. Everyone just kind of feeling each other out. Again, the next tribute will be a pretty hard initiation, 2-to-0 kills right now in favor of SMG, and the levels are pretty much dead even though. The soaking has been really, really consistent. Okay, so we can really quickly talk about some of the heroics. The big one that's jumping out at me is that King Caffeine did take Putrid Bile here, which puts down a path behind Stitches. People take poison damage, and they're slowed. He does, and he makes very, very good use out of it. He might be one of the only Stitches that we're seeing playing it right now, but when he does use it, it's scary. Now, Zuna's taken a lot of damage. You see the sword here. Tyrael is going to use this to go back forward and prevent this from being taken here. Zuna has Army of the Dead. He pops it to keep his sustainability up. Dreadnought is in a bad spot. He uses Judgment to stall out. Can he get out of here? He does actually dodge the Shock and Awe, and oh my god, he goes into the Void Prison to try to sustain his life, but the Ravenous Spirit is just doing so much work. He used the Judgment to kind of stall out his life because he was in a position where he was going to die already, and then as soon as that was done, Nazebo knew, look, I'm free to do whatever I want my Ravenous at this point. And it just did so much work, 4-0 in that fight. There was a ton of, we were just talking about the Putrid Bile, but Stitches had himself in the right position. They were all trying to walk forward to get close enough to deal with the Ravenous Spirit, but the Putrid Bile was slowing them down so much, and then we saw that lined up perfectly for that Shock and Awe. Just too much damage for SMG to deal with, and they ended up losing. Was that a 4-0? 4-0. Yeah, they traded out 4 kills for none. I mean, honestly, really, really just heads-up smart play. Tyrael, I mean, so I actually think Dreadnought made a bad play there. He used his sword to go right in here and just stop the tribute from being taken, but that wasn't a curse. And he put himself really out of position. He was completely segmented from his team, and he had to use Judgment to stay alive for a little while to buy time on his Q again so he could get out once more. Oh my goodness, the hook goes down and he has to dash out like that. So by wasting his Judgment, I really think it just, I don't know. I mean, it didn't pay off.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of, when I just look at the team comp, that's what I expect most of these team fights to look like.
Time again,
You're going to see Tyrael dive in, and he's going to deal with Ravenous Spirit, but he's going to put himself in such a bad spot that, is it worth it? You know, SMG is going to have to show that the utility and, like, you know, that you're making these trade-offs, it is worth it, but I'm curious to see how that's going to happen, to be honest.
Now Cloud9's going for this as Tassadar is in the top lane. They saw him in the top lane defending the creep, so they know it's 4v5, and they're going right on in to try to steal this golem. Dreadnought gets Howling Blast and just kind of rooted down for a minute. Again, Tassadar is making his way down, but he's still not almost there. It looks like they're not going to stall this out long enough. Dreadnought taking too much damage, and he's going to fall. His ghost will explode, but will it be enough? The golem healing up, though.
I will say it just kind of looks like Dread's a bit confused as to what he should be doing.
Yeah.
Like, he's poking in, and it's just like, what is my effectiveness? What's my role here? And
no!
Okay, really nice. He got a lot of use out of the Ravenous Spirit there. And C9 just looks so much more collected. It looks so like everyone knows what they're doing. They're all executing their roles really well. Soldiers perhaps going to try to go for a Void Prison to steal this, but I think that C9 is going to be aware of it, and they're going to make sure that they're split up enough so that they can dodge it. The idea here is that Soldier hits a Void Prison that locks out all 4 members of the team that are sitting here, and then he blinks onto the capture point to grab it himself. Now, he might be able to do it. Did he grab it? Got it, right?
I think he did.
Yeah, he did. Okay, all right.
That was really confusing, and we see Dreadnought in Mad Timmy coming immediately. We have the Judgment, followed by the phase shift in from the Brightwing player. Oh my goodness, the heals are there, but it's not enough to save the fall set. Dunk Train does fall. The top lane is cursed, and there are mercenaries pushing down that top lane. The bottom lane has a golem. The steal from Soldier was such a big play.
Yeah, that's pretty critical.
Like, it's huge. Everything's huge. They went from being down 2 levels to being even levels. Yeah. They're going to get 2 forts. They're pushing the middle lane. They get that fort as well. Symbiote actually just took this game and turned it on immediately. King Caffeine gonna fall as well. What just happened in the last 30 seconds? This went from being grim from SMG, being way down, to being in an advantageous position. Like, oh my goodness, the plays are real.
I saw him steal the golem, and I was like, okay, that's pretty hype. And then I saw that they're just like, you know, very decisively pushing out that bottom lane. They're getting kills. They're scraping it together. I'm like, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be hyped, but now I'm hyped.
I'll be honest with you. I saw Arthas coming down, and I was just like, I don't think it's going to be able to get the golem. I don't think it's going to work out. But I mean, prove me wrong, Symbiote. I guess I should never doubt you, because yeah, what a huge play.
I thought for sure that C9 would be aware that was like what was going to be going on. It's like, where's Zeratul? What's the plan? And he actually positioned that Void Prison really well.
It was flawless. He probably literally just had, like, hovering, just waiting. He had a bolt in to steal it. Or blink in.
And Dunk Train was standing right next to Zeratul
the whole time. And Uther.
And it looked like he even tried to walk into that little nook that he was standing in. And it was like, I mean, red flag should be going off as soon as you try to walk into a situation like that. It's like, I can't move my character in here. Why can't I do that?
And this is more than a momentum swing for them, but it's a psychological win.
Yeah, it's
like
morale. It's morale.
Like, you know, wrecked them. We just pulled them apart. We killed multiple members.
Right.
We sold this. We've got every single fort on the map and pressure on their keeps. Middle lane, a lot of aggression going down here. The Emerald Wind pushing Zuna way back. The Polymorph following up, and they're just trying to burn him down. But Army of the Dead is going to keep him nice and healthy for a good amount of time. The hook, though, are pulling him back. Or excuse me, that was a cast aside, and oh my goodness, I mean, the damage going down on Arthlon, he's not going to be able to get out of here. Oh my goodness, just, SSG, don't doubt them, because they will prove you wrong.
Okay.
But as soon as the Judgment is used, we see the Ravenous Spirit as a follow-up. Kenma gonna fall. Oh my goodness, and KO's gonna be able to get out of here. You know, all in all, it was a pretty good trade. Because again, using the Judgment to get Arthlon out was worth it, even though it made Army of the Dead much more, or excuse me, Ravenous Spirit kind of open to use.
Right. That was a crazy team fight, and we saw KO only made it out of there because he's been talenting into Dimensional Shift.
No, he's just taking this. He's not going to get too cheeky. Okay, I was like,
I would argue that that's actually a poor use of Void Prison.
Yes, of course. The Golem is worth a lot more than Giants are.
Void Prison has a giant cooldown. It's over 100 seconds. So.
I don't know if my throat is going to survive this cast because these games are absolutely just back and forth. The 2 top teams in the Heroes of the Storm community, at least in North America from our events, these guys are the top dogs.
Yeah, and there's going to be a contest here for the upper right side Golem here. We see KO pop the Oracle so that he gets that extra vision. You can see the ring that's around him there. They are aware that C9 is posturing to take this. So really, really nice dodge on the hook there from Arthlon and KO.
Yeah, they just go back. They say,
okay,
you know what?
Giving it up, yeah.
Giving him the Golem. Let's get the tribute. They're a little bit indecisive here, actually. Yeah. I'm surprised they don't just send Mad Timmy to the tribute. But I guess they don't have full vision of where the team is. Now, this Golem will, in fact, go to Cloud9 for free, and the tribute will go.
And we saw the Clairvoyance go down there. That's actually Nazeebo's Clairvoyance that they're worried about.
Yeah.
They're worried about the Void Prism that happening again. And that would have been... That would have hurt a lot more than the last one, to be honest, because they would have gotten a huge amount of push. Probably would have taken that top keep, so...
Well, this Golem's doing a lot of work. The shielding coming down from Castar to try to keep this fort alive a little bit longer, with multiple members of Cloud9 rotating up. Uther on his way as well. All 5 members. The hook goes down to Dreadnought. Not really the target you want to hook, but Arthlon gets hit by the Howling Blast, and he has to back up here. The Ravenous Spirit following up as well. Dreadnought goes in to stop that Ravenous Spirit, but what's his plan to get out of here? He doesn't have one. So he sacrifices himself to try to slow them down, while the rest of the team is going to try to stop this Golem, but the push from Cloud9 is going to continue.
That's exactly what I was talking about when I saw the draft. I was like, okay, they're going to dive in, and then Tyrael's going to be so far away from the rest of his team that nobody can save him. So you basically have traded a Heroic for a Heroic.
The shotgun! Oh my goodness! Arthlon just barely surviving the actual dash forward. A little misstep there. He actually does manage to get out of here.
Wow,
the hook almost grabs him. Everything is absolutely just huge right now. Wow! Just before he can step into the Void Prison, he actually dies. The Uther has fallen. King Caffeine taking a lot of damage as well. The Archon just doing as much damage as he can. The Strafe finally being used here by Arthlon, but he's actually not getting a lot of work.
He's getting zoned out. The zombie wall didn't work there.
Zombie wall is... clutch plays by both teams. Zuna gets dismounted. Soldier
Blink.
on the hunt is going to get the Singularity Spike. That'll get the kill on him. Oh, just about not. Yep, but that's going to be a kill. Trades for both teams. The keep stays alive. Kobe. But there is a curse going down for C9 Maelstrom right now. That means that, of course, all of the minions that are coming out, all the creeps that are coming out, have 1 HP, so they're easily cleaned up by any AoE, and the forts and towers do not fire any of their ammunition. Oh, we do see the Clairvoyance going down from Nazeebo. They want to get a check on where the enemy team is. They may try to contest this. They know that only a couple heroes are there. Well, we can see the members of Cloud9 thinking about it. It's just Arthlon and Dreadnought. Dunk Train is making his way down. Now Mad Timmy has come down as well. Dreadnought, Dunk is looking. He's looking. Biceps follows.
What are you doing,
Dunk Train? As well.
Oracle, they know you're there.
They know you're there. Is the Soldier going in hard on Dunk Train, just using all of his abilities, dodging the hook. Well done. The Golem has been leashed, and it's going to heal up really quickly.
Putrid Bile.
Oh, no.
It gets him out.
It doesn't get him out.
He decides to use it. I'm not sure that was necessary, but, I mean, better safe than sorry.
Yep, but you secure that kill. Arthas is still down while he's back up now.
Yep.
It's a Golem, guaranteed. Curse is doing nothing for them.
Yeah, they've put a lot of effort into trying to stop that. You can see, Dunk Train's probably thinking that same thing, like, hey, we just spent a ton of our Curse time not actually doing anything, posturing for a fight that we lose. So maybe I can try to come up here and get a kill on this.
He's going to actually get it. He's got the minions to tank. The tower wasn't shooting this entire time. He's got another wave on the way.
Right.
This is a dead keep. A big heads-up play by Dunk Train, but Soldier is getting very low.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was curious to see if SMG was going to try to rotate up to pin Dunk Train down. Okay, yeah, he should be able to get out of there, no problem.
Just kind of clearing things.
Dunk Train, you are getting away with murder here.
He's actually getting way too much done. He's putting Cloud9 in a much better position than they should be in right now.
I mean,
and he made value out of the curse. Like
SMG is aware that he has bribe, and they saw that the camp was up. Why didn't they go up to contest that? I'm not sure. So
it's a misplay. Yeah. It's a misplay for sure. Golem not going to get anywhere near as much done as Dunk Train did at the top lane with that curse. Yeah, sure, he's going to stall it a little bit. He's going to do a little bit of damage, but no. I mean, not a lot will be done. Knight's taken by SMG, and they might rotate up. I'm just going to grab their watchtower here, and then the Golem has fallen.
Hey, Jake. Triple Resurgence of the Storm for C9 Maelstrom.
As we take a look at the talent, Cloud9, like he just said, Resurgence on Stitches, Uther, and Arthas. The Ravenous Spirit upgrade and the Bolt.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, so for SMG, we do have Resurgence of the Storm for Tyrael. We have a Bolt of the Storm for Zeratul and Vala. Upgraded Archon and triple.
Oh, the hook there on Soldier as he bolts out immediately using his blink to get out of the way. Zuna's going to be going in on these Knights. Just, they feel really safe here.
Wow. That's a really nice zoning with the wall. Yep.
And, yeah, they're going to get the Knights for free. Honestly, like you said, level 20, I'm so worried for SMG at this point. Triple Resurge is
Yeah, I think SMG
Game-breaking.
really wanted to find
Game-breaking.
themselves in a stronger position than they do now. It's a little bit too close for comfort.
They're behind. They're behind,
Yeah.
and
But, I mean, if you're going up against a team that has triple resurgence, you need to find yourself in a really, really nice lead by the time you hit level 20, not slightly behind.
yeah.
I mean, they can take clean team fights and still have the other team just come back up 5 seconds later. So that's something that's always in the back of your mind whenever you
Look
take
at
these
Cloud9
fights.
just marching forward with
Yeah.
no fear, just straight down the middle. Judgment goes down
What?
to Dunktrend, but he actually bolts out of it. And he's going to be fine. Shock and Awe hits Dreadnought. Ravenous Spirit on Dreadnought as well. He falls very quickly. The Emerald Wind keeping Suna kind of pushed out, but it's not really doing much. Dread is the only one to fall thus far. Dunktrend is
Dunk,
very,
dunk.
very
Okay,
low,
gets
but
out.
he's going to get out. Mad Timmy falls as well. Oh, no. Okay, the bolt is
yeah.
there. And honestly, the Void Prison is used as a last-ditch effort, but KO is just has to step in and, oh, not going to be able to survive here. There is no way, my friend. I am sorry. You have tried, but Howling Blast will lock
He's
you down.
making you look bad right now.
No, he's not living. He's not
Okay.
living. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Dreadnought
Yep.
had a resurgence, but he's now caught out of position. He's forfeit. He's dead for nothing, for free.
Okay.
It's
I hate to call games early, but
it's not looking
they
good.
shouldn't be
It's not looking
losing
good.
this one.
Immediate fly in. He's going to
Yeah.
push this back. Now, Soldier is there ready, but he misses both singularity spikes just by
Yeah.
a bit. And,
They have enough creeps. They have the catapults pushing in. This is going to be a 2-0 victory for C9.
It's looking
Maelstrom.
like it. It's
Yeah.
looking like it. It's looking grim here, guys. Strafe didn't get a lot done. The core is
Yeah.
falling.
Jake, this is the first time in King's history
And Heroes
That-
of the Storm history.
that's true, that SMG has ever seen the losers bracket
And been 2-0'd.
and been 2-0'd. They've never seen the losers bracket and they've never been 2-0'd.
Cloud9
Yeah.
is making statements here.
They are. They look super strong. They say, hey, we didn't show up last week, but we're still on top. You might have won last week, but we weren't there.
Yeah, they weren't here last week.
And that was a statement. That's 2-0. And I don't know, I mean, what SMG's plan was to deal with Ravenous Spirit, but just looking at it from a quick glance, I didn't like their draft. I wasn't really sure how they planned on... Maybe Tyrael was going to sword the ground where he was standing, Judgment in, just hit him and then go back. But
We didn't see it. We didn't see
that happen. He just got blown up every time he dived in onto Zebo.
Admittedly, Dread didn't look that comfortable on Tyrael.
Yeah, I will say that. There were a lot of situations where I saw him dancing around and he was like really far away from the rest of his team and he wasn't really sure what his role was,
Yeah.
what he was supposed to be doing.
And typically when you run Tyrael in general,
Yeah.
it's more of a melee comp. It's
Yeah.
more of a, we're going to go in with Tyrael and Illidan,
Yeah.
or Tyrael and Kerrigan, or
Yeah.
something of that sort, with another tank.
Yeah, there's
Like-
usually another tank present.
So Arthas, Tyrael, that's really strong. But
Well,
the draft,
Yeah.
they got outdrafted.
I feel as though that they did get both games. I felt that they got outdrafted by quite a large margin, and it decided a large factor of those matches. So, well, that said, SMG will be going to the losers bracket.
Yep.
They will be waiting in losers finals for. I'll have to check to see what those teams are right now.
We can take a look at the winners finals while we.
It's going to be either it's going to be Clairvoyant versus Glorious and 2ARC. I think they're playing right now. So the winner of that will be playing against Symbiote Gaming for the losers finals, and C9 Maelstrom is sitting pretty in grand finals.
Make sure I spell Maelstrom correctly here as we update the graphic, and we got C9 Maelstrom on the upper half
Yeah.
of this winners bracket. Now that means in the grand finals they start 2-0
Yes.
in a best of 7 series.
Yep.
So they've earned this advantage in the final match for that first place prize, which is, well, with our donation now over
$1,000 for the prize pool.
Well, but it's over $500 for first place. I
Oh, yes,
believe.
yep.
I believe.
Yep.
So that's a good chunk of change here for a game that's only in alpha.
That's very true. Very true.
So our next match, you said.
Yeah, I think we're going to be hopping into. I'm guessing that Glorious versus 2ARC is happening right now. So once that game is done, we're going to hop into Clairvoyant versus the winner of those two, and we'll just carry out the rest of the bracket from there.
Yeah, I mean, from then on, you'll see every single game cast.
Yep.
It'll be Clairvoyant versus the winner of that, and the winner of that will advance versus Symbiote in the losers finals.
Right.
And whoever manages to take that will advance to the grand finals to face Cloud9 Maelstrom.
So we'll keep you guys updated in the chat as to what's going on with that set that we're not watching right now. But stay tuned, and we'll be back with some more Heroes of the Storm action.
And
just
guys,
a bit.
If you're enjoying the show, hit that follow button. Feel free to subscribe to help support us do more bigger, better tournaments. And thank you again to everyone that has donated to our prize pool, because our prize pool is entirely funded by people that are passionate about competitive Heroes of the Storm. And it's really cool to have that. So thank you again. Thank you so much for giving us a prize pool for our players. And we'll be back as soon as possible.
Sure. Yep. Stay tuned, guys.